Devastating news. Yes, somebody already said it in the chat. Terry McLaurin strained his wallet muscle in practice. He does not have deep pockets like yours truly. But with these deep pockets, you know what we're going to do right now? We're going to get in the largest fantasy football tournament on this planet. We're going to hop in Best Ball Mania, $25 buy-in, $2 million for first. Again, there is a new tournament on Underdog that is only a $4 buy-in. So I would say that if you're new on Underdog, definitely get in the $4 draft. But we will do a regular redraft mock draft for completely free on flockfantasy.com at the end of this live stream. So if you're wanting to do like a cheaper draft, obviously you can do like a cheap Underdog draft off the stream. But specifically with the streams that we've been doing lately, since every single night we do a free regular PPR mock draft on flockfantasy.com at this point, I don't really feel the need to go through and make sure that we are getting in just the cheap drafts on the stream. I think we can actually get in the higher stakes ones, and specifically with Best Ball Mania, I need to be getting in for the reason being that it looks like this tournament may fill without me if I don't start drafting teams quickly. Because we only have like a month and a week until the season starts. And I've only drafted, I think, 90 Best Ball Mania teams, and I have to get in an extra 60. And Underdog's about to drop all the Flock Fantasy tournaments, which y'all know when they're dropping all the Flock Fantasy tournaments in August, that we are going to be drafting a ridiculous amount of those. But thank you for everybody coming out to hang out with us in this. And we are at pick 5. And if we are looking at the current landscape, realistically, our draft strategy is probably a little bit different at 5 than it would have been just 2 weeks ago. Now, obviously, training camps changed a bunch. The Jefferson injury has made it where I moved Jefferson down my rankings. Let me show y'all on the site real quick how I rank the top around 1 at this point. Here are the expert average rankings on flockfantasy.com. If you have the season pass, you should be able to sort it by my rankings specifically and also see my tiers. And you'll see that I've dropped Jefferson down to the 2nd tier at the 106. And I've also moved Jahmyr Gibbs ahead of CeeDee Lamb as well. This is due to the Jefferson hamstring report, and this is due to the Jahmyr Gibbs usage report in comparison to David Montgomery. So I've changed the top of my rankings and therefore my strategy just a bit. Jahmyr Gibbs does indeed end up going at pick 4, so we are not going to get him, and instead we will take CeeDee Lamb at 5. But Sir Alexander says, Mason, will I be able to get in the Flock Fantasy tournaments on Underdog if I didn't use code Flock? Yes. The Flock Fantasy tournaments on Underdog should be accessible to anybody, regardless of what code that you used on Underdog Fantasy. The only thing that will be like you won't get if you did not use promo code Flock when you signed up to Underdog will be my draft guide cheat sheets, which those are exclusive to people who use promo code Flock. But you should be able to get in the Flock tournaments there. Now, let's see. The day was good today. We were working a lot. I had a lot of teams to review, and I will give y'all a massive shout out. So I'm sure y'all already saw in the video we dropped today, plus we said in the live stream last night, that the 2025 season pass for flockfantasy.com, we've never done anything like this before, but it officially went live last night, like at midnight. And again, this is a season pass where you can get access to everything on flockfantasy.com, all the tools like the trade finder, trade calculator, all the rankings, rest of season rankings, the weekly rankings, the dynasty rankings, all the draft guides from all the creators on the site. Plus, I'll answer your start set and your trade questions. If you use promo code Flock, you get it all for $34. So we've never had something that cheap, or I've never even seen a deal like that in fantasy football, which was the intention of it. We wanted to make sure that's the best deal you could possibly find. And it's just been a very hectic day because we were expecting it because it was cheaper than anything we've ever offered, but we sold more site memberships today than we ever have in the past. Buy-in's not even remotely close. So thank you to everybody joining the flock lately, but it did make my day a little busy. We're going to take Ladd McConkey here at pick 20. And one thing that is obviously necessary to talk about, LC says, if we don't take Chase Brown in this draft after today's video, I promise you if Chase Brown and Kyron Williams are both available to me at pick 29, I will take Chase Brown. But I think realistically, what we're probably going to see is people wisen up and go, yeah, Chase Brown shouldn't be a round 3 pick. Chase Brown should probably go at the end of the 2nd round. And we'll probably see Chase Brown go ahead of Ladd McConkey. I'm sorry, we'll see Chase Brown go ahead of Ladd McConkey in my redraft rankings. But, in my redraft rankings, I have them back to back. But in best ball, where wide receiver is a little bit tougher to come by, I'm going to go Ladd for sure. And Chase Brown actually does end up making it to round 3 of this. I'm not saying that's a surprise because, did y'all not see the video I put out this morning saying to draft Chase Brown? Obviously, that's not going to impact these drafts. But what will is the fact that you actually just had Zach Moss getting cut. So now it's only Chase Brown and Taj Brooks going at it in the Cincinnati backfield. So Chase Brown is a lock there at the 2-3 turn. I moved him up my rankings on the site up here to pick 20 in your regular redraft league. So a no-brainer selection there at 25, even in best ball. Okay. Garrett Wilson goes at pick 28. We'll take Josh Jacobs here easily. We go wide receiver, wide receiver. The Jacobs pick at 29 is a no-brainer. Young Liquid says, hey, is it worth it to get the membership if I'm in a 14-person league? Yes, if you are talking about, because obviously everything on the site, you can access the rankings page, the trade calculator. You can link your team with the My Teams page. In a 14-team league, you can do everything on the site in a 14-team league. The only thing that maybe will be a little bit different is if you go to access the 2025 flock draft sheets that were posted as the draft guide, we don't have 14-team league rankings out there. But if it's a 14-team league that starts 7, if you actually go over here to the glossary and the directory, you'll see that it's just going to tell you if you use a 12-team start 8 sheet, it's actually the same thing. So, but if it's a 14-team league that's start 8 as well, then you really need to be moving up wide receivers. Now, Jackson Smith-Njigba goes 35. Trey McBride makes it all the way down to pick 32 in this draft. Interesting to see Breece Hall go off the board at pick 31, given the reports that we have coming out of New York at this moment. Seems like they're really in on the Braylon Allen experience with the Jets. And yeah, I love the Josh Jacobs pick at 29. Andrew says, are you doing that Austin in-person meetup again? Yes, sir, I am. I'd love to see you there. Here are the details on the screen right now. It's Sunday, August 17th. Everybody in the Flock League will be there. Hopefully you will be there as well. Completely free to show up in Austin, Texas. Realistically, I'm paying you to come because I'm giving you free merch and stuff when you get there. So come, it should be fun. Now, James Cook off the board at pick 39. And obviously, let me just do a little spiel real quick, and then I'll stop annoying you. These are best ball drafts. No time commitment at all during the year. That's how I draft teams every single night for real money and still make sure I'm taking care of my main redraft league during the season. Best starting lineup is going to get submitted for you at the end of every single week. This is a $25 buy-in, $2 million first place prize. Yes, and if you wanted to get into drafts with us, which we're doing every single night in the live stream, they're about to drop Flock Fantasy tournaments as well in August. It's all on Underdog Fantasy. I always leave the link in the description in the comment section. And if you use promo code FLOCK, you will get a 50% deposit bonus up to $1,000. Plus, you'll get all my 2025 fantasy football draft guide cheat sheets. You won't get the draft guides from the other people on the site, only mine. We're going to take Xavier Worthy over Rice and Tet for just a $10 deposit. And how you would get those is they'll get emailed to the email address you signed up to Underdog Fantasy with code FLOCK with. And that's only in 2025. Underdog sends me a CSV of all the 2025 signups every day. And then with the availability, here are the states that it's in. So you can pause this, see if it's in your state, but it's in every big state essentially. And it's in 45 plus states. So you most likely have Underdog. So Tet goes 45, Jameson off 48. Andrew's going to get the meetup. Hell yes. Kyle says, how are you feeling about the Trey Lance Hall of Fame game? So I actually tweeted this out earlier today. Let me pull this up. I thought it was funny. Tweeted out, don't know what's more exciting. Flock Fantasy dropping a $34 season pass for the 2025 season, or watching Trey Lance start a game. And also, I thought about tweeting out as well, Jordan Addison goes 51. Super big surprise. So I'll just take the falling value with Kenneth Walker. I definitely prefer Kenneth Walker over Devonta Smith. And the year that we won $150,000 on Underdog was actually the year we made Josh Jacobs our most drafted player and Kenneth Walker our second most drafted player. So exciting stuff. But let's go. TK, if you accidentally bought the draft bundle twice, just send a message in the Discord chat in the site issue section, and one of the developers would be very happy to go ahead and get that fixed for you. So let me grab a link to the Discord. If anybody ever has any issues with flockfantasy.com or any suggestions, please just send them here. We have a Discord chat with like 16,000 people in them. And there's a site issue section where all the developers look at and they'll help you out with whatever issues or suggestions you have. Okay. Lake says, Kenneth Walker over Devonta Smith. Can you go over that? Well, Devonta Smith went before Kenneth Walker. So maybe I would have taken Devonta Smith if you would have made it to me at 53. Y'all know Devonta Smith's a top 5 player for me this year in terms of the guys I've drafted the most. But yeah, we don't get the option for Smith. He goes at 52. Zuck says, where do you find all your news, Mason? So there are a couple different places you can find your news. Here's the easiest. And I would say this regardless of if I was sponsored by Underdog Fantasy or not. Like, just completely honest here. If you have an X account, let's figure out what we're going to draft. I'm not going to take Joe Burrow, I'll be honest with you. Stephon Diggs goes. I'm going to take Swift. I think there will be a multitude of wide receivers that I can look at in round 7. Wide receiver, we already have Lamb, Ladd, Worthy, so I'm feeling strong regardless. So I'll go Swift over Jerry Jeudy. So there are 2 different things you can do. You can go to Roto World. I think it's NBC now or whatever the hell it is. I always just look up Roto Worlds. And both of them are completely free. And I'm not sponsored by either one. I'm sponsored by Underdog. I apologize, but I don't get paid to say it about Underdog. I only get paid to do drafts. Let's move this over. You can search up Roto Worlds. It's NBC Sports, and you can see news here. But it obviously has a bunch of stuff surrounding like defensive players, players that I may not find relevant, ton of ads. So what I typically do is if I need a recap of everything that happened in the day, the X account at Underdog NFL tweets out pretty much everything fantasy relevant. Like Jets training camp update. Braylon Allen has been one of the stars so far. And then they give you the source. New York Times, why Jets players can't stop, blah, blah, blah. So that's what I would look at. Let's see. Matthew Golden goes pick 75. Sam Laporta off the board. Do we go Pacheco? Do we go Reed? Do we go Shakir? I'm going to mix it up and we're going to take Godwin. Now, Godwin currently injured, of course. Godwin is probably going to miss the beginning of the season. Does not look like it's going well. He has been a big, big time faller. But this is a $25 buy-in where I'm trying to win $2 million. And a big way you do that and get scoring points in weeks 15 through 17. And realistically, I think Chris Godwin can score a ton of points during that stretch. So we'll take him. I completely understand why people would say like, oh, Mason, don't you know about the injury? Yes, of course I know about the injury. But realistically, let's go over to the sites and we will see that if we just look at Godwin in comparison to the wide receivers that are going alongside him, it is laughable the difference between these players. Godwin last year, 19.7 points per game. Jaden Reed, 11.6. Khalil Shakir, 12.2. Now, again, the question is how many games you're going to get out of Godwin and how long it's going to take for him to get close to 100% if he's ever going to get to be 100% this year. That's something we don't know. But if I had to draft him as like the wide receiver 2, where he finished last year in points per game, I wouldn't do that. If he was going in the first round, I would have 0% Chris Godwin. However, that's not the case. However, you're getting him as a low-end wide receiver 4. I'm taking him here like wide receiver 46 or something. So we will swing for the fences. Like, same thing here. Joe Mixon going at pick 85 is great. If you're swinging for the fences, there is a non-0% chance that Joe Mixon's good to go week 1. Now, again, I don't have much Joe Mixon in drafts. I have a lot of Nick Chubb. So selfishly, I'm kind of hoping that's not the case, as bad and as evil as that is to admit out loud. But let's move this down. Kyler Murray goes off the board at pick 89. That's the team that I believe had Trey McBride. Yeah, so not going to fault them at all for taking Kyler there. They also had James Conner, which is interesting. So Jordan Mason off the board at 90. Mahomes is going to be plan A for us, where we have Xavier Worthy. Our plan B is going to be Josh Downs. Josh Downs goes, so we're going to get our plan A. We will take Patrick Mahomes as our first QB off the board, and we will pair him up with Xavier Worthy. And I know everybody is going to look at what Mahomes has done over the past 2 seasons and say, oh, don't you know, Mahomes isn't any good, blah, blah, blah. And let's look at this because it is fun. Because I completely understand, yes, Patrick Mahomes over the past 2 years has not been the best fantasy asset. But can we look over the 5 seasons prior? So 2023 through 2024 versus the average 2022, 2021, 2020, 2019, 2018. This is Mahomes over the past 2 years. This is Mahomes the 5 years prior. So, yes, over the past 2 years, 17.6 fantasy points per game. But the previous 5 years, 23.5 fantasy points per game, where he was the QB1 in fantasy from 2018 to 2022. He was averaging over 300 passing yards per game during this stretch. He was the QB1. I understand we all have memories of Goldfish, so we only remember the past 2 seasons. But there is a small chance that the Chiefs get back to being a pass-heavy offense, and we do get Mahomes going back to his vintage self, which, if that happens, hell, this is me running back the year that I won to 150,000 on Underdog. That's what it is. My most drafted quarterback was Mahomes. My most drafted player was Jacobs. And my second most drafted player was Walker. And we will take Travis Kelce and we'll just go all in on the Kansas City Chiefs offense. I did not have Kelce that year, or at least not super highly. Okay. Let's move this over. And this is a good question. G Play says, what's your Mahomes exposure? I hope I'm overweight Patrick Mahomes, but I'll pull it up. Running back, I have Josh Jacobs, Kenneth Walker, DeAndre Swift. Wide receiver, I have CeeDee Lamb, Ladd McConkey, Xavier Worthy, Chris Godwin. Quarterback, I have Mahomes double stacked with Worthy and Kelce, and tight end, I have Kelce. Let's pull this up real quick. I need to, if it wasn't for clogging up, I don't want to take away from people's draft guides, but it would be funny to just have as a post on flockfantasy.com my exposures. But I'm pretty sure people want to see the draft guides more, so we're not going to do that. Looking at my Mahomes exposure, I'm at 9.9%, so after this draft, I should be slightly over 10%. So slightly overweight Patrick Mahomes. Nothing like where we were in 2022. And yes, if you have not done so already, please go down there, hit that like button. I would really appreciate it. And also, if you have not done so, subscribe to the channel. I am trying my absolute best. Life used to be so easy whenever, this is getting a little too personal, I was going to say, whenever all we had to worry about was live streaming, but with how much we've invested into flockfantasy.com and how much time we spend trying to make the best product possible for you there. If you could just spend half a second and go down there and hit that like button, would help me out a bit. Okay. This is a good point. Vostavan says Mason, he had Tyreek and a younger Kelce. And my point is, in 2022, when he was the quarterback one and won me $150,000, he did not have Tyreek. Now, Tyreek was already in Miami at that point, and Mahomes still showed and still proved that he could be an elite quarterback in fantasy. And now he also has Worthy, Rice, Hollywood. Let's move this over. We have a bunch of different options here. We're going to take Tyron Tracy as RB4 quite confidently. Oops, let's just post videos with your shirt off and you'll hit a milli so fast. I mean, you know that's the strategy in the Flock League. We ran a focus group, and I went, how can we hit 1 million subscribers in the Flock League? And they went, oh, easy. Record videos without your shirt. And I went, okay, well, a little weird, but Stevenson goes 118. Will be interesting to see if we get Judkins making it to us. Because if we are looking at Judkins, pairing him up with Godwin's probably not the most ideal, given the fact that both of them would be missing the beginning of the year. Loveland goes 121. Not Oliver says, just got Judkins on my hard rebuild with the 110. What are your thoughts? If it's a hard rebuild, I like it. So this team only has Bijan at running back. Do they go Judkins as their RB2? No, they go Charbonnet instead. Am I taking Judkins at 125? No, Judkins goes 123. Never mind. I was probably going to say F it, and we were going to take him. Plan A is Bateman to get a 5th receiver. Plan B is Justin Herbert to stack with Ladd, and we'd be done at quarterback. We're not taking Spears and not taking Kirk for this team. It's either do we go with the 5th receiver or do we finish it off at quarterback? We're going to finish it off at quarterback. We'll take Justin Herbert, pair it with Ladd McConkey, and then we're done here with our 2 QBs. Okay. Let's show the squad off. And again, obviously, best ball going to be a little bit different than your regular redraft league. Like, we'll do a regular redraft mock draft on flockfantasy.com later tonight. But best ball wise, you are having to draft 2 to 3 quarterbacks in every draft. There's no waiver wire. Plus, they'll just cycle through our starting lineup with whoever has the better week, right? Same thing. We're having to draft 2 to 3 tight ends. But with us getting Herbert here at 125, I'm confident enough with Mahomes and Herbert that we only have to draft 2. And realistically, I don't know if like taking Tajay Spears, Christian Kirk here is a reason enough to pass on Justin Herbert. Okay. Javonte Williams goes 131. And also for the Flock League, I talked to the editor today, and he is working hard to get y'all the submissions video. I literally cannot wait to watch it. Like, the Flock League videos are going to be on another level this year. That's also been something that, not going to lie, has been very stressful. But pressure is a privilege. Quentin Johnson goes 134. Everybody loving the team at 1. So Draco's always in drafts with us. He's the team at 1. He has Chase, Bucky, Chase Brown, Jameson, Waddle, Ricky Pearsall, Buka, Purdy, Jalen Warren, Njoku, Loveland. Yeah, pretty good team. Okay, Isaiah, yeah, if you have any issues with the mock drafts on flockfantasy.com, just please send them in the side issues section on the Discord, and the devs would be super happy to look at it. We did just pass 22,000 drafts on flockfantasy.com, which is exciting. Okay, F it. I almost want to just take Jordan Love here, but we can't. We don't really have that option. I'm going to take... We're going to take the Cyclops. We'll take Najee Harris and just go all in on the Chargers offense with Justin Herbert, Najee, and Ladd. And we're done drafting running backs as well with Josh Jacobs, Kenneth Walker, DeAndre Swift, Tyron Tracy, and Najee. And all jokes aside, if Najee ends up being viable this year, him having the nickname the Cyclops will be one of the best nicknames in NFL history. Now, of course, if he legitimately only has one eye, which we don't know yet, then you're probably not allowed to say it. But if we are allowed to say it, and if everything is all fine, yeah, Draco gets Jordan Love and Romeo Dobbs here. Draco's just killing this draft. But if we're allowed to say it, and the only way we'd be allowed to say it is if he's okay, would be one of the best nicknames ever. We will take Cedric Tillman. Cedric Tillman is a perfect example of a wide receiver that I would never take in the flock league. In the mock draft you're going to see at the end of this, I'm not going to take friggin' Cedric Tillman because when would I ever start the dude? When could I feel comfortable doing it? Never. Be impossible. But in best ball is going to be in 2 wide receiver sets. If you're in 2 wide receiver sets and we saw the spike week ability last year, we probably get a couple usable weeks from him. I don't know when they're going to be. I'll never be able to rank him in my weekly rankings as like, oh, he's a must start wide receiver this week. But we'll go with it. Vinny says, you don't get to choose your own nicknames, yet somehow Najee forces his way into his new one. That is true. I think I know Vinny definitely knows I said this on the live stream a while ago, but after watching the F1 movie where Brad Pitt told the other racer, I don't remember his name, called him like JP or something. I was like, my name's not JP. He was like, that's the thing about a nickname. You don't get to choose it. That's how I feel about Ted McMillan. I'm sorry, Ted. I know you hate being called it, but the thing is, your friends get to choose your nicknames. And clearly, I am one of your friends. So you don't get to choose it. I get to choose it. Now let's move this over. And the hope for us is we see a bunch of running backs off the board because we're not going to draft another running back in the rest of this. Okay. Lake says, what was your nickname growing up, Mason? So, depends. I've had the same size head since I was in first grade. So my friends in elementary school and middle school would make fun of me and call me Jimmy Neutron. Because I just had the biggest head. I have this, imagine this size head, right? On the body of a 6-year-old. That's what it was. So, elementary school, I was Jimmy Neutron. High school, my tennis coach gave me the nickname The Flash. So that's what I was called. Like that was on our tennis jerseys and stuff. But Jimmy Neutron was definitely a better one. Britton Strange off the board at 162. We're going to take 3 tight ends here kind of regardless. We're just wide receiver tight end through the rest of this. Like I was tipping over. I was a straight up bobblehead for a long time. Like I thought that I was going to have, we're going to take Pat Bryant. I know a lot of people would like Pat Bryant to have the bring back with the Chiefs options in week 17. In reality, just a wide receiver that has a very clear path to get on the field with a very good quarterback and a good offense. But I legit thought like I was going to have like the biggest head forever. But I don't know what it like. I don't know why I developed that way. Like I just got such a big head at such an early age. And then it's kind of like, it's still big. Don't get me wrong, but it's nothing like it used to be, just proportion wise. Now, Braylon Allen off the board. Cam Ward goes as well. Good for us. Get these running backs and quarterbacks gone. I guess maybe we can mix in a third quarterback if we really wanted to. But if we were to go with the third quarterback, we're going to have to take 2 more tight ends. We're only going to be able to draft 7 receivers. I think this is probably a team that needs 8 receivers. But like Stafford at 173 would be insane. He goes, so we're going to take Jalen McMillan. We have Godwin. So honestly, a McMillan-Godwin combo makes a ton of sense here, where if we do get some usable weeks from McMillan at the beginning of the season, while Godwin's not healthy, and then obviously Godwin takes over near the middle of the year, and Godwin's the guy that explodes in the fantasy football playoffs for us, that'd be perfect. Mr. Ski says, Mason, do you buy into building teams based on week 17 matchups for best ball or no? Ultimately, I think it's important, but I think on the list of importance, it is much lower than people give credit to it. I think it's like a little, here's my take, and I'm an idiot. I could be 100% wrong, right? I think it's very easy to just go like, oh, this player plays this team and you just make your decision in your draft. This is obviously not what the majority of people do, but this is what a large section of people in best ball do. You can figure out, oh, the Kansas City Chiefs play the Denver Broncos in week 17, and then you tell yourself that week 17 is all that matters, and you just need to optimize to have a 1% better team by possibly having a bring back there. It's like, I'm going to ignore all other decision making, and I'm just going to make it based on that one thing. And then you don't have any teams make the finals, and then it's like, oh, okay, well, did it really matter? So I think it's important in certain tournaments, but in terms of the list of importance, it's near the bottom for me. Jalen Coker off the board, 183. I'm not a big Jalen Coker guy. I'm fine seeing him go. DeAndre Hopkins off the board. Y'all know I like taking Michael Wilson here a lot in best ball, so I was going to take Michael Wilson if he made it to us. Will Shipley goes. So I think the big reason Gesicki's falling right is given the Noah Fant trip to Cincinnati, which Noah Fant goes to Cincinnati would be devastating for Mike Gesicki's fantasy value, but Noah Fant's also gone to Miami. Noah Fant's also got to New Orleans. So it's not a guarantee that Gesicki is going to be his final Cincinnati is going to be his final destination. So we'll take a tight end in a good offense and we'll move on. Jatavion Sanders goes here at 190. Is there been like negative news about Jonnu? Because Jonnu's been falling and has shown no signs of stopping lately. Justice Hill. And if Underdog has any Hall of Fame drafts, you better believe, here's what we're going to do. Let's have some fun with this. Underdog has to have pick'ems for the Hall of Fame game, right? Ooh. Oh, that's weird. I thought that, never mind, sorry. We can just take another piece in the Tampa offense, go Kate Otten with our third tight ends. Get the massive faller, falls 16 picks past ADP. We already have Godwin at McMillan. So we can make a consolidated bet that Tampa passing volume's there, or maybe that something happens with Egbuka, maybe something happens with Evans. So I like the team a lot. Quarterback, we have Mahomes double stacked with Worthy and Kelsey. We have Justin Herbert stacked with Ladd McConkey. We also have Najee Harris, as if that matters. Running back, I have Josh Jacobs, Kenneth Walker, DeAndre Swift, Tyrone Tracy, and the Cyclops. Wide receiver, we have Ladd McConkey, CeeDee Lamb, Xavier Worthy, Chris Godwin, Cedric Tillman, Pat Bryant, Jalen McMillan, and we'll take another wide receiver in round 18. But let's see if they got Trey Lance. Tomorrow, Underdog's Pick'em has Trey Lance higher, lower, 116.5 passing yards. Don't tempt me. Do not tempt me. I wish I just only had to pick one player to do this with. Cam Dicker as well. Drew says Trey Lance last season, the preseason went crazy. He did. Raphael says, where are you at with Likely versus Andrews exposure? Andrews getting older, Likely now injured. Based off the recent report that we have with the Likely injury, I hope I have more Mark Andrews than Isaiah Likely, but that's a good question. I'll pull that up after we take a receiver here. Wide receiver, I'm actually going to take Tyler Lockett. I think Lockett gets a bump with Treylon Burks getting cut with his ability to get on the field. So let's hop into another Best Ball Mania draft. We're going to get in a couple Underdog drafts as we always do, and then we'll go get in that draft on flockfantasy.com. And dear God, of course, I'm sorry for juking y'all out. Underdog's not going to recognize my location, so I have to join in on my phone because Safari is blocking it. So we are in Best Ball Mania now. There are 4 spots open. And actually, I probably should have gotten the Husky. What am I doing? But anyway, let me pull this up. And again, just in case you didn't know, for Underdog Fantasy, you do need to be in one of these states to draft on Underdog. So like if you have a VPN or something, Underdog's not going to let you in. They have to be able to determine your location. Reason is Underdog's fully regulated, and it's all state by state stuff. So like if you were doing some like shady crypto crap, then I'm sure they would let you, but Underdog's not going to let you get away with that. Okay, so we are in, and we are at the 1 slot. And we are drafting in the same draft as Vinny, as always. Let me know if anybody else here made it in this draft with us. And yes, I know we are joking. I don't want to draft against y'all, so I went on the back end and I told Safari, hey, don't give Underdog my location. Block me. So we are on the clock at 1. We will take Jamar Chase. I don't want to say too much about what we're going to be looking at the 2-3 turn because I'm sure we're going up against some of y'all in this draft. Okay. Let's move this over. And yeah, we should have gotten in a Husky draft. That's my mistake. Maybe we'll do another Underdog draft at the end of this. I don't know if we can do like another stream where we did 5 drafts. Y'all know last night we were trying to stay live until the 2025 draft for Flock. I'm sorry, the 2025 season pass for flockfantasy.com went live. I wanted to make sure that if there were any issues, I could deal with them on live, but there weren't really any issues, which was nice. So we did 5 drafts last night. However, I need to finalize and I need to get out the Superflex draft sheets and add them to all the Flock draft sheets on the site and get that email sent out to everybody who used promo code FLOCK and made a $10 deposit on Underdog Fantasy in 2025. I've been telling y'all I was going to do that. It's going to take me a little bit of time because I have to finalize those Superflex sheets. Then I have to download all the email addresses Underdog sent me for the signups and $10 deposits in 2025. Probably pay for MailChimp or something, uploading them, and then send out one mass email with all the draft sheets for y'all. Okay. Fuji Apple says HN rising in this draft. I thought Vinny was going to take him at 4, but no, you have HN going at pick 8 instead. Genty makes it all the way down to pick 15. So yeah, what we'll probably do is, Josh Jacobs goes at 17. We got Jacobs at 29 in the last one. Black Suit says, yo, Mason, I heard you're dating Sydney Sweeney. Congrats, bro. I'm trying, I don't know who told you that, but we were trying to keep it on the down low. So just don't tell anybody. Like, I'm not going to confirm nor deny, but yeah, don't tell anybody that intel. Okay. Chase Brown goes 22. Chase Brown was the guy that I was wanting, given the update that we have surrounding. We're going to take JT, and then I'm also going to take Trey McBride. I think McBride's a better pick here at 25 than he was earlier in the offseason, because earlier in the offseason, you used to be able to get Kittle at the 4 or 5 turn. And now that you're no longer able to take Kittle there, Trey McBride is just a better pick at this point. Okay. A pool says, first stream back, and it's great to be back to being a fantasy nerd. Oh, it's great. It is great. Okay. Luke, she does have good genes. So Hampton off the board at 29. Josh Allen off at 31. I wonder where Chase Brown's going to end up sliding to. Can y'all help me out? Let me pull up where I updated Chase Brown in my rankings. First, if you're looking at the expert average rankings on the site, he's at RB8. Let me see where I put him at pick 20. I have him at pick 20 and RB8 as well. So please spam the chat. Do you think I'm wrong here? Would you rather have Chase Brown or Jonathan Taylor? Chase Brown or Jonathan Taylor, please spam the chat. What direction are you going in? I'm waiting for y'all. Power Branch has bought the season pass, loving it so far. Really hope you like it, my guy. Again, I have been working on it. Well, we've been working on flogfantasy.com for years now, but the devs have been working their butts off, especially since January. We've been meeting almost every single day, putting out new tools, working on a bunch of stuff. So hope that you enjoy it. Looks like most people are on the Chase Brown side of this. Another thing is, if you're looking at Jonathan Taylor, if you do end up getting Anthony Richardson starting, it's definitely going to be worse than Daniel Jones. Because Anthony Richardson's probably not going to check the ball down very often, while at the same time, Anthony Richardson's going to steal touchdowns at the goal line. Jalen Waddle goes pick 46. What day is it today? Wednesday. We'll take we're going to take DJ Moore here and James Cook easily. These are auto picks at the 4-5 turn. Yeah, we do not have to think about this for a single second. Getting James Cook at pick 49 is a no-brainer. And if we're going to take James Cook here, we definitely need at least one more wide receiver. This is perfect. Eduardo says, I hope Tyler Warren ain't a bust. You know, I've drafted a crazy amount of Tyler Warren. I've stopped drafting him as much lately just because his price has gone up. But at one point, he was one of my most drafted players. But I will say that also, Tyler Warren's another example. You hope for the purpose of his fantasy production, Daniel Jones is the starting quarterback. Okay. Stano says, just realized Vinny is a red shield. Now, Vinny is a red shield now. That is a big, big update. It's hilarious how much of a staple Vinny is on the channel. That, like, people recognize Vinny's status on his current Underdog shield. Okay. People saying my team's cooked. I think you mean the rest of this league is cooked, my friend, because this is what a great team looks like. King Rube says, I only tune in for Vinny. Yeah, that is true. I'm sure that there's a percentage of people that would not tune if it wasn't for Vinny. Now, that percentage is maybe 0.1%, but it's a percentage. Okay, James Cook off the board at pick 64. What's actually really exciting for our team as well is we have McBride, and one team in this draft took Bowers and Kittle. So realistically, we could actually see some tight ends get pushed up the rest of this draft because that team monopolizing a lot of them. Okay, do I need to refresh here? What's going on? Okay, I did need a refresh. But Egbuka goes to God. Dang, Egbuka's going early now. God, that is crazy. Yeah, bully tight end is a bad strategy if you're going to go with two tight ends this early. I think you could go like Bowers and like Njoku, though, and have a lot of success. Let's move this down. Ricky Pearsall goes. Yeah, that team right before us takes Burrow. They didn't have Higgins. That sucks for us. We will go... What's going on with my phone? Oh, I'm going to go Jerry Jeudy for sure. And then beyond the Jerry Jeudy selection, do Do we go Pacheco? You know what? I'm going to mix it up. We're going to reach on Matthew Golden. We'll take another receiver. Hook 'em horns. Again, I didn't love Matthew Golden as a prospect, but landing spot couldn't be better. Like Matthew Golden can immediately be the wide receiver 1 for this team. Day 1. Okay. The good fellow says, you love historical data, Mason. I would bet bully tight end isn't a good strategy in any capacity. Actually, last year it wasn't, but if you go back and look at some of the previous seasons, taking a tight end in like round 3 or 4, and then also following it up with like a tight end around 8 or 9, has actually been an effective underdog strategy. Last year we tried doing it with Laporta. Y'all know I loved Laporta in round 4 last year, which turned out to be god awful. But I would take like Laporta and Njoku together, and it would have worked quite well if I just was smart enough to realize, no, Bowers is the tight end that you need in that range. But sadly, I was not smart enough. Ivan says, Golden is so bad, there's no way he's ever wide receiver 1. Come on. So I agree. I think if you go over to like the prospects page on flockfantasy.com, you'll see that like Matthew Golden's one of the worst round 1 picks ever at the wide receiver position in terms of his yards per route run, at least since this data started to get tracked dating back to like 2016. Like the production numbers for Matthew Golden are just embarrassingly bad. But at the same time, he gets the round 1 NFL draft capital. And he finds himself in a good spot where Jaden Reed hasn't proven anything. So I've drafted a decent amount of Matthew Golden in round 7, and I don't hate it either. Okay, Mahomes goes pick 89. We may get boxed out here. This may be a tough life. Whew, we're going to figure it out together. Pittman goes 90. I would have taken Pittman if he made it to us. Cup goes 91. I probably would have taken Cup if he made it to us. I would not have taken Trey Harris. Completely fine seeing him go. Ayuk goes 93. I would have strongly considered Ayuk if he made it to us. Let's see. Oh, thank God that team took Baker. I was worried that they were going to go Kyler Murray. Kyler Murray is who I was worried about not getting, given the fact that we have Trey McBride, no quarterback. And then beyond that, I am actually just kind of fine to take Darnell Mooney in best ball. So we'll go Kyler and Mooney. Mooney very easily could be the incorrect pick given the injury, but Kyler Murray is a lock here at this price. And if y'all can believe it or not, I booked a super special guest to join us this live stream. Also lives in Austin, Texas, loves fantasy football. I would say is maybe one of the best fantasy football experts on the planet. Drum roll, please. It's Miley. Come on. Come in here. Come in here. Get under the desk. You know you want to. Yeah, get in your spot. I know. Okay. But yes, special guest. She's now in her spot. Y'all don't have to worry. The draft stream is right on schedule. And yeah, imagine Quentin Johnston walks through the door. Oh, that would have been beautiful. Scattaboo off the board, 103. Quinshon Judkins goes 104. I like the squad so far. Running back, we have Jonathan Taylor, James Cook. We have the elite tight end with McBride. We have him stacked up with Kyler Murray. Wide receiver, we have Jamar Chase, DJ Moore, Jerry Jeudy, Matthew Golden, and Darnell Mooney. For a best ball team, I think it actually looks really strong. Ollie says, Mason, have you ever played Valorant? No, I have not. I am very much like a one, I will be honest with you, I don't play any video games anymore. But even back whenever I did, I was very much like a fake gamer. Like I've seen people make fun of these people online, where the only games I really played when I was like in high school were 2K, Madden, MLB, and Call of Duty. Which I know it's like the worst things to play. Whatever, but Lube says, I think I hate James Cook at his price. Well, if y'all remember, I put out the video early in the offseason saying like I was never taking James Cook at the beginning of round 4 because we could just get Chuba Hubbard at the end of round 5 instead. So when I showed you all my exposures, James Cook was one of my 5 least drafted running backs in drafts, and Chuba Hubbard was one of my 5 most drafted running backs. But now if they go this close together, like I'd rather have James Cook straight up over Chuba Hubbard. The difference for me from now versus then is they used to go like 20 picks apart, and now they're going 5 picks apart. I'm sorry, Clash Royale is different. However, I will say I deleted Clash Royale because I really had to get on the grind with the draft sheets and stuff a couple days ago. And I've successfully, if I can make it through the rest of the day today, have gone 2 full days without playing Clash Royale. Caleb Williams is going to be an auto pick for us here to pair up with DJ Moore. And then I think we maybe take Ramondre, or we reach on Loveland. I'm going to reach on Loveland. We'll go Caleb Williams as our QB2, and we'll go Loveland as our tight end 2. And we will be done drafting tight ends for sure. Quarterback, we could potentially take a third if we really wanted to, but we'll see. Yeah. Let's not congratulate me too much, because this is correctly the 15th time I've deleted Clash Royale. And somehow it always ends up back on my phone. Like same thing, like I get sucked into Instagram Reels. I think I've told you all this before, but I've never really like had TikTok on my phone to the point where I'm spending a ton of time on TikTok. Because anytime I would ever download TikTok, the algorithm would read right through me and realize, hey, what do we got to show this guy? Let's just show sexy ladies dancing. So I would have TikTok on my phone for like 5 days and realize quickly, I got to get this off my phone ASAP. So I delete it. But Instagram Reels, on the other hand, their algorithm has me down to a T, where they just show me the funniest memes ever. So I'll delete Instagram, and then I'll realize like, crap, I got to download Instagram to make a post on the Flock Fantasy Instagram. And then I'll get back on my phone, and then all of a sudden the next day I spend an hour on Instagram Reels. Now we have a massive run on quarterbacks here in the 11th, which is nice. Hollywood 132, Cam Ward 133. Very interesting to see Cam Ward go that early. And what is funny is, what the funniest thing is sometimes is when y'all find my like personal Instagram and y'all like send me a meme, like a funny Instagram reel. And I'm like, okay, this is hilarious. I'm like, why the hell would y'all send me this? It's like nothing to do with a live stream or nothing to do with anything. Okay. Sir Alexander says, Mason, how diabolical is your Reels algorithm? Is it brick by brick? The thing with Instagram Reels and why I get sucked in there is like I said, with TikTok, it'd be like, I would get on it, watch it for 5 minutes, and 4 of the minutes, it would just show me hot girls dancing. And I like get off and I'm like, okay, I should not have spent 5 minutes just looking at that. And so it like, there's not like a positive loop of like saying like, oh yes, this is good. I get on Instagram Reels and it's like, I'll spend 20 minutes on there. I get off. I'm like, that was 20 minutes well spent. I just like, it knows me. It knows me more than I know me. That's crazy. Okay. Javonte goes 140. Trey Benson off 141. Kyle Williams goes 142. Rashad White goes 143. Both Najee and Tootin are the big time fallers at the moment. But honestly, F it. I'm definitely going to take Tootin here. I've drafted like none of them. I've taken a decent amount of the Cyclops for sure. But I'll take the Cyclops as well. we'll go, what if he learns how to see again? The thing with Najee Harris that people discount, and honestly, maybe I'm more educated than y'all are. That could very easily be it. I maybe just have learned more. Maybe I'm just smarter. I don't know. I'll shine some light on the situation for you. Back when I was a young lad in school, they taught us of a scenario and of a young lady named Helen Keller. And this woman couldn't see and she couldn't hear. However, she still was able to overcome and was able to live a very fulfilling life. And a lot of people can find motivation from that. So if you know anything about Helen Keller, you will realize that Najee Harris has both of his ears still. He can still hear perfectly fine. And he still has at least one eye. So, for that reason, I believe this will be the motivational story of the year. We will take Najee Harris at 145. Jackson says, I wonder if Ellen Keller could get 1 yard in the NFL lined up as running back. If she had Najee Harris's body, possibly. Okay. Tyler Algier off the board at 160. Geno Smith goes 161. Like I said, I think we could potentially take a third quarterback on some teams with Kyler and Caleb. But definitely there are no quarterbacks for us to be looking at this point, right? So we will I'm not going to be reaching on a quarterback to get our third guy. I'm not like panicking and need to take Sam Darnold here. Bingo Bongo says Najee with one eye can still. Okay, this is going to be very embarrassing and very dumb. But I was driving, listening to a fantasy football podcast yesterday, picking up dinner, and they were talking about Najee Harris. And I just thought, I was like, hypothetically, if you had only one eye, could you be a running back? And then I was driving and I closed one of my eyes and I was looking around. I was like, yeah, there's no way you could be an NFL running back with only one eye. We'll take Eckler here, and then that way we only have to draft 5 total running backs. And then we'll take Jack Bash. I hate to just continue to double click the top of ADP, but I reached on Loveland. What else you want from me? Okay. Let's move this back. And now running back, we have Jonathan Taylor, James Cook, Byshell Tootin, the Cyclops, and Austin Eckler. Wide receiver, I have Jamar Chase, DJ Moore, Jerry Jeudy, Matthew Golden, wide receiver 4, Darnell Mooney, wide receiver 5, Jack Bash, wide receiver 6. Tight end, we have Trey McBride and Colson Loveland. Quarterback, I have Kyler stacked with McBride, and we have Caleb double stacked with DJ Moore and Loveland. So I like the team. Sir Fozzie says, I'm the 2 team. Sorry about the Burrow snipe. The Burrow snipe was just weird, my dude. You have no Higgins. Like, why don't you just take somebody else and then get Kyler and snipe me on Kyler? I figured like you would have gonna snipe me on Kyler due to Harrison. But okay. Colbert says Loveland will be my most drafted bear this year, no question. Let me pull up how much Loveland I have. Because I would say Loveland's probably my most drafted bear. And we just hit 300 likes on the stream. Thank you for everybody going down there, dropping that like. Let me pull this back up. So drafts completed. Yep, Loveland's my most drafted bear. It goes Loveland, Caleb, Roshan, Burden, Swift, Moore, Rome. And then I have like none of Kyle Monangai and Cole Kmet. It looks like I took them each in one puppy draft. So effectively 0. Eduardo says, I feel like Rome can have a JSN type season. I think a lot of people are projecting that out because there are a lot of similarities. One thing that I will make sure that I stress, though, is the most common scenario for like a rookie to fail as bad as JSN did or Rome did is not that they have a blow up like JSN in year 2. JSN was an outlier in that case. Not saying that Rome can't do that, but I just want to make sure that we don't all collectively view that as the most likely outcome, because it's definitely not. We will take Darius Slayton. Again, best ball option, literally no interest in a regular redraft league. Do I go with the 6th running back or do I go with the 3rd quarterback? This is round 17. We're going to have to take 8 receivers regardless with this team. We'll take Rodgers. Let's take Rodgers 193, and then we'll grab like Calvin Austin or Roman Wilson in the last round. And realistically, we're just kind of getting Rodgers here for hopefully helping us advance. Figure it out. Okay. Mike says, still though, Rome was a good prospect and was taken at 9 overall. Again, I'm not saying that Rome is going to be these guys. I'm not saying that Rome has no shot to break out. Rome very easily could break out. Rome very easily could be great. But I think a lot of people are just looking at what JSN did last year and thinking that's always going to be the case. Where realistically, let's look up NFL draft history and let's look at wide receivers that had that kind of draft capital that failed as rookies, and let's look at how their careers played out. So let's start in 2022. Top 12 wide receivers, or let's go top 20 receivers. Top 20 picks in the NFL draft. London, Wilson, Olave, Jameson, Jahan Dotson, Treylon Burks. 2021, Chase, Waddle, Devonta Smith, Kadarius Toney. Top 20 picks. 2020, Ruggs, Judy, Lamb, Rager. 2019, you had Hollywood and N'Keal Harry in round 1. 2018, DJ Moore, Calvin Ridley. 2017, top 10 picks, Corey Davis, Mike Williams, John Ross. 2016, round 1 picks, Corey Coleman, Will Fuller, Josh Dotson, Laquan Treadwell. Corey Coleman was also a phenomenal prospect. Corey Davis was also a phenomenal prospect. Like, it happens where we get great prospects that get a ton of draft capital that come in, they have bad rookie seasons, and then they don't bounce back year 2 the way that JSN did. I'm not telling you that's guaranteed to be Rome, but it does seem like just because it happened with JSN last year, everybody has convinced themselves like, oh yeah, that's obviously what's going to happen. Tate says, Mason, did you ever play football yourself in high school or anything? Maybe you can see the scar. You see that scar there? It's way more noticeable whenever I have a shorter haircut. But I had brain surgery. Oh, God dang, we had sniped on Roman Wilson. That sucks. We'll take Elikeo Manor. I think he gets a slight bump with the Treylon Burks stuff. So let's move this over and let's hop into a redraft mock draft on flockfantasy.com. I only have like 2.5 weeks until the Flock League draft, so I need to make sure that I get this going. Also, just in case you don't know, you can always hop in a public mock draft lobby on flockfantasy.com whenever you want. Full transparency, these aren't nearly as fun as underdog drafts. Underdog drafts, you can win a bunch of money in. These, you can't. These are just regular free PPR, non-PPR, half PPR, whatever you're looking for. Just regular mock drafts. I'm going to be getting in the PPR mock draft. Now, there are draft simulations you can do against bots. Let me move this over. You can get into private drafts where you just invite your friends. And there have already been 22,000 drafts completed on flockfantasy.com. We are going to be selecting in the 2 slot. There are 3 spots open in this draft, 2 spots open in this draft. Now the draft is full. Okay. But, oh yeah, anyway, getting back to brain surgery. So I had like very, very serious brain surgery when I was a baby. By baby, I mean I was like 1.5. I don't remember exactly how old. Obviously, I don't remember it at all. But it's like it was serious enough where, okay, I'm going to sort by my rankings. If you're on the rankings, you can sort by mine. And we have Bijan at 2, and the expert average has Bijan at 2 as well. But it was like serious enough where the priest at the hospital came out and like told my parents that I was dead and like wanted to pray over me. And like they brought me back with the bzz, bzz thing. Like it's a big deal. Like I had to go and get like CAT scans and stuff. I had to shunt forever. But anyway, because all that happened, I was never allowed to play contact sports. So I wasn't allowed to play soccer. I wasn't allowed to play football. I wasn't allowed to play hockey. I know soccer sounds weird, but the neurosurgeon told me I wasn't. I wasn't allowed to go on like certain roller coasters. So the sports I played growing up, baseball, basketball. I ran some cross country in middle school, but that was just because I was chubby and needed to lose weight. And then I also played tennis in middle school because we didn't have baseball and I wasn't good enough to make the basketball team. I was not good at basketball. I like played in the community league, but I was like, I wasn't bad, but if you're in the community league and you're not like the best kid on your team, you're kind of bad, if that makes sense. But I wasn't good enough to make the middle school team basketball. I guess how bad I was. And then I was good at baseball. I was good at tennis, and I did tennis throughout all high school. So Edward says, Hims is constantly advertising to me. Do they know about my ID? Well, Hims constantly advertises to me as well, but it's about the hairline. It's them trying to get me finasteride and minoxidil. And don't you worry, I'm already hooked up on the finasteride. Dago says, do you still like tennis? Yes, I still love tennis. It's tough to find somebody that like, because the issue with tennis is you kind of have to find people that are in the similar ballpark as you skill-wise. Because if you play with somebody that's way better than you, they're not going to have any fun. If you play with somebody that's way worse than you, you're not going to have any fun. It's like kind of turns into a different game. So what I actually play a decent amount of now, just because it's like easy to go play pickup and find people that are relatively the same skill level as pickleball. But I love tennis. Like whenever I get to reconnect with some people from my high school tennis team, like last year I went and played with my old doubles partner. It's like probably one of my favorite days of the year, right? Okay, Jonathan Taylor goes off the 209. So, oh crap, I didn't even pull up the draft sheets. I'm not going to be able to get the draft sheets up in time and cross everybody off. We are just rolling. We can at least sort by my own rankings, though. Here, my own rankings, I have Trey McBride as the best player. And F it, we're going to test out my rankings. We're going to see how they are. And taking Trey McBride here at the 211, this is now going to guarantee us an elite quarterback on the way back as well. So this is going to be a 0 wide receiver build. So we'll see. JSN goes 301. We'll take Josh Allen, my highest ranked player here at the 302. So this is the kind of build where, like, if you're looking at the draft guide cheat sheets on the site, obviously you'll see like my rankings are adjusted and the big boards that you get are adjusted depending on your league settings to try to exploit your overall league settings. And this type of build where we have the elite quarterback, the elite running back, and the elite tight ends, full transparency, like if we pull up the directory here, you'll see like the ESPN 10-team PPR start 7, or especially like the ESPN non-PPR start 7, like 10-team leagues. Like any 10-team league where you only start 2 wide receivers and 1 flex, this is how you exploit. You go get an elite quarterback. You go get an elite tight end, understanding that wide receiver depth will be easy to come by and replaceable later on. Now, if we were having to do this in the flock league where I have to start up to 4 wide receivers weekly, it's a 12-team league, full PPR format, definitely going to be more nerve-wracking there. But if you were in like, again, this is all goes back to like, make sure you look at the directory for the exact sheets that you need. But if you're like a 10-team, 2 wide receiver, 1 flex league, especially if it's non-PPR, the quarterbacks are going to make even a bigger difference if you can get an elite guy. Like, this would be the perfect start for it. Flock league, this would be sketchy. And I'm actually going to draft as if this is the flock league, where it's a 12-team PPR double flex league, where I kind of need wide receiver. Because that's my league, and I need to practice, and I need to make sure I can nail these picks over the next few. Okay. And of course, if you don't already have the sheets, I know I've said this 1,000 times, but we did just drop the best deal that we've ever had on the site. I'm hoping enough of y'all get it. That way we can run it back again next year. We'll have to do the math to see if it's profitable with how much I have to pay for the site, the devs, and everything. But we'll see how much of y'all get it. If a lot of y'all get it, then it will definitely be profitable. But it's $34 for access to everything on flockfantasy.com, including all the draft sheets. Not only all mine, but also all the other creators on the sites. Plus, you'll get unlimited tool access. So the trade calculators, trade finders, all the updated rankings, not only right now, but through the entire season, both with weekly and rest of season. And if you use promo code FLOCK when you sign up, you'll get trade questions answered and start sit questions answered from me during the season as well. It's the 2025 season pass. I will send that link out in the chat as well. Okay. Vinny says, Mason, you should seriously create that lanyard with your picture. Maybe I can. I've been on for the Flock draft week with everybody coming up to Austin and like the meetup and stuff. I've been on an Etsy kick where it's the first time I've ever ordered anything off Etsy, but like I was going to do custom ink to order a bunch of stuff. And I was like, damn, this is expensive. And then I looked up Etsy. I was like, this looks like higher quality and this is much cheaper. Okay, DJ Moore, Devonta Smith. So I have Kenneth Walker as my highest ranked player, but we need wide receiver desperately, and DK Metcalf's my highest ranked wide receiver. Mindtrick says the draft guides are those forms you just pulled up, correct? Those are my draft guides. There are other draft guides as well from the other creators of the sites that are different. So if you look at the expert average rankings at this point, Rashee Rice is going to be the top of the list. If you look at my rankings, I do have Waddle and Jameson ahead of him. I'm going to take Waddle here at the 502. If you are in a league in which you can put suspended players in your IR slot, I actually think Rashee Rice is a much better selection in the 5th round. The issue is if you're not able to put suspended players in your IR slot, then you're going to have a very difficult time working the waiver wire at the beginning of the year if you have these suspended players just clogging a spot. Let's see. Random post is how did Derrick Henry fall so far? That is a good point. I did see that like Derrick Henry has an ADP of like pick 19 in ESPN drafts though, which is crazy. Okay, Jameson off the board at the 503. Chuba Hubbard goes 504. Okay. Romadunze 509. It's crazy to see Rice fall this far in this draft. I'm super interested to see where he goes in the Flock League. Like, I'm going to be fully honest. I'll probably be scared to take the injured guys because I don't want to start off slow and then have to like be making videos sitting at 0-3. Like, I kind of want to start off hot so I can talk a bunch of trash. So I'd be scared to take the suspended guys myself. Okay, RJ Harvey, Joe Mixon, both off. Flowers at the 603. So we are still in line to try to play catch up at wide receiver, right? Which, if you were in a league where you only started 2 wide receivers and 1 flex, to be honest with you, I wouldn't even have taken Jalen Waddle at the 502. I would have gone Chuba Hubbard. Josh Downs, Chris Olave, Pacheco, Ridley, Addison, pulling up the best available players according to my rankings. That's where they are. These are according to the expert average. But I am probably just going to kind of need to look at receiver here. Dear God, I need to move up Diggs in my rankings dramatically. So I'm moving up. Ooh. I'm going to take Jawan Jennings here at the 611. Running back's the best value on the board at the moment, but we just have to take wide receiver. And then obviously we can't go quarterback or tight end having Trey McBride. And then we'll go Jerry Jeudy as our next wide receiver in the 7th. So, what could we have done to like this team more? Well, before I forget, let me make sure I move Stephon Diggs up in my ranks. Montgomery goes off at the 705. Montgomery has been a faller as of late, given the recent reports that we have with Gibbs seeing more work this year. Khalil Shakir, 705. Ricky Pearsall, 707. I'm not stressing that we get a wide receiver making it back to us after going with 4 wide receivers straight in the middle rounds. Mind Trick says, small detail, but I love that it shows what number at the position each player got taken at for these drafts. Oh, yeah, like how it says like wide receiver 41, wide receiver 42. It is weird that most fantasy platforms don't do that. What's funny is, so like the team that we have at flockfantasy.com, the site designer, like the one who designed this draft board as an example, doesn't even play fantasy football. So like a lot of stuff that he gets us, I have to explain like, no, that's not usable. That's not useful for fantasy purposes for these reasons. But some of the stuff he gets us, it's like, oh, I've never seen anybody do that in fantasy football, but that's an incredible idea. And like an example of that is like, where typically on a draft board, you'll just see like the position here, but they won't tell you like, oh, Ted McMillan was the wide receiver 21. And you typically have to like count how many wide receivers got drafted before Ted McMillan. Yeah, Myers at wide receiver 44 is great value. So again, we are just wide receiver and running back over the next few rounds. Like you take McBride, you take Josh Allen. A big advantage that you get is you don't need to draft another quarterback or another tight end. I wouldn't fault you to do so if like it's just great values in the last 2 rounds. But we're definitely not taking tight end or quarterback anytime soon, right? Over the next 4 rounds, we're just wide receiver running back. Dylan says, why does James Conner fall so low? I don't think that's particularly that low for James Conner. It's a lot more expensive than where he's being drafted last year. Where did I draft James Conner in the Flock League last year? Like round 7, round 8? Let's go in the middle of round 5. Now, nothing's really changed. Just he's another year older. Okay, are these my rankings or these the site rankings? Okay, these are mine. This is the current list of best available players according to the expert average on the site. And this is it according to my rankings. Okay. So again, Baker, Kyler not in play for us. We're just running back and receiver. Yeah, I have Tracy as the best available player between running back and wide receiver. So we'll take Tyron Tracy at the 8-11 as our first running back off the board. What's the expert average? Yeah. The expert average has Quinshon Judkins as the best running back available, but I have Travis Etienne. And we are going to go ahead and we're going to take Travis Etienne at the 902. This is funny. Eric says the lighting makes it look like we're wearing a yarmulke. It does. That's hilarious. Mind Trick says, are you doing basketball for the draft order in the Flock League? No, we're not. We're mixing it up this year. I was just talking with the videographer. And dear God, the videographer just got me a number of how much it's going to cost for... Because we're going to film the Flock League meetup this year as well. So I need them to film like us determining the draft order for a video, then the draft itself, and then the meetup. So for the love of God, go to flockfantasy.com and get your 2025 season pass. Ryan says, am I the only one who thinks Mason's team's terrible? So running back, we have Bijan anchoring us down. Then we're going to be choosing between Tracy and Travis Etienne weekly based off matchup, hoping one of them breaks out. In reality, one of them's probably going to turn into absolute dust. Obviously, we have the elite quarterback, the elite tight end, then wide receiver. We're throwing out DK Metcalf, Waddle, Jawan Jennings, Jerry Jeudy, playing the matchups and playing the hot guy. So I don't love our team for sure. I mean, obviously going 0 wide receivers through the first 3 rounds is not ideal. But we wanted to test it out with how our rankings were currently situated. Okay. Griffin says, surely Etienne's starting spot gets taken soon. Yeah, but that's kind of priced in, right? Where Travis Etienne currently is the cheapest starting running back in any backfield. Like, please correct me if I'm wrong here, but is there a team where their running back 1 goes after Travis Etienne? So I agree with you. It's far from a guarantee that Travis Etienne is the starting running back the entire season in Jacksonville, but at the same time, that's kind of what the expectations are. And y'all are right that the Dallas running backs are cheaper, so I apologize for that. And the Cleveland backs. Great point. So never mind, there are 2 backfields that are... And realistically, if you know you're going to get Kyler here at the 10-11 turn, the real answer of should we take the elite quarterback and elite tight end there at pick 23 and 26 is hell no. You do not do that. And instead, you just wait to get Kyler or Caleb down here. So these are my rankings. Let's look at the expert average. This is the expert average. Trey Benson goes to the 1008. What do we decide to do? Javonte 1009. I don't want to say it till we're on the clock. Goff goes. So here's the scenario. 1, I should just take Kyler Murray and then send a prayer that honestly, that's if this was a regular fantasy football league, what would I suggest you do here? It would probably be take Kyler Murray and then try to trade Josh Allen. Like if it's Kyler Murray versus Najee Harris, and then we'll go J.K. Dobbins. So obviously you are never taking Kyler here if you can't make a trade. And realistically, it'd be probably easier to trade Allen. And if you get Kyler at like after Javonte, after Trey Benson, after Bateman, right before the big Q and Najee Harris, Clearly, it was a mistake for us to take Josh Allen where we did. But we're going to take Kyler Murray. And if this was a real league, I would be immediately throwing Josh Allen on the trade block. So, realistically, I probably need to be a little more willing to pass on the elite quarterbacks here at the 2-3 turn. The thing is, in best ball, they get scooped up because everybody's taking 2. But you see in this draft, like the Lamar team, the Daniels team, the Hurts team, they only have 1 quarterback, which should be the way you go about it. We'll see. Damien says, hey, Mason, can you help me see how your live draft mock? Okay. If you're having an issue getting into a mock draft, like, I don't know where your issue is, just go to the mock draft section. Like, we've already had 22,000 drafts completed on flockfantasy.com. So it should definitely be working. Just pick what lobby you want. Like, there are 5 spots open in the PPR draft lobby, 6 spots open in the non-PPR. Looks like there are 12 spots open in the half PPR. You just click what you want. You hit enter, like join queue. So you hit this. Then we probably need to adjust the way this is shown. And then you hit join queue right there. And then it takes you in the queue. I'm already in a draft. And what we have on the site is we have it where you cannot join multiple drafts at once. Just because we want to make sure that people are not auto drafting. Okay. Hollywood Brown goes to the 1203. Eckler 1205. This is sorted by my rankings. The average expert ranks have like Chubb a lot lower. Like average expert ranks have Herbert, McCarthy, Kincaid, Stroud, Goddard, then Trey Harris, Cedric Tillman, Jack Besh, the top players available. But at this point, what we are probably looking for would be, God dang it, we wanted Trey Harris. I mean, wide receivers here are so thin. We'll take Chubb and hope that you have no Mixon week 1. And if you have no Joe Mixon week 1, this is like the perfect guy to have on the back end of your roster. And then if Joe Mixon's going to go week 1, we just cut Nick Chubb, no problem. And then what do we have at receiver as options? Highest rated player according to the expert average is Tillman. According to my rankings, it's Mims. We'll take Mims. And we'll go, what if they figure out how to get him on the field for more than 27% of the snaps? Tim says, will Rice miss games this season for a suspension? Yes, more likely than not, Rashee Rice is going to miss time. Which, if Rashee Rice wanted to miss time to a suspension, he would have been an auto pick for us there at the end of the 4th round. Would have been very happy to take him. Pat Bryant goes to the 1306. I know Danny from Fantasy Stock Exchange has Pat Bryant ranked significantly ahead of Marvin Mims, he says. Jerome Ford, 1308. Algiroff. I was just thinking about this. If this is not for your regular redraft league, your regular redraft league, you would never consider a player like Josh Reynolds. But if Josh Reynolds is the locked in wide receiver 2 for the Jets, you consider him in some round 18. Maybe. Michael says, this is so weird. I'm so best ball coded. Yeah. Realistically, before the Flock League draft last year, I don't know how many regular redraft mock drafts we did. So I definitely wanted to get in some regular redraft mocks this year before the Flock League. And also it helps me figure out my rankings, right? Where if I'm just drafting off my rankings, I can see like what positionally I need to be moving up and down. Michael says, statistically, what is the best position to use in the flex? Full PPR format, half PPR format, can go wide receiver, running back either way. Non-PPR league, you definitely lean running back, but no matter what, you do not want to go with a tight end. Okay, CJ Stroud goes. Let's pull this back. You know who we probably need to be moving up based off the reports today? I probably need to be moving up. I mean, he's already my top running back in the ranks. Oh, no, those are the expert ranks. Yeah, he's top running back in my ranks as well. God dang it. Why did I say anything? Braylon Allen goes. The second highest running back in my ranks, Miles Sanders. Super easy to take Miles Sanders in your regular redraft league because if Sanders ends up being the starting running back for the Dallas Cowboys, then great, super solid pick, and then you're absolutely crushing. But if it's Javonte, if it's Jaden Blue, then who cares? You cut him. You took him in the last round. Here's our squad. We have the worst wide receiver room in this league. That's the issue with us in the league analyzer. We are currently in the 4th slot. Looking at where we are at, if you use my rankings, we are number 1 in terms of total value. Obviously, you'd really need to be looking to sell Josh Allen, and we'd be looking to sell Josh Allen for a wide receiver, preferably. And if we were able to do that, I think this would be an extremely solid team. But the issue is it all hinges on if we could sell Josh Allen or Kyler. But Sir Fozzie says, Night Mason, had fun. Sorry about the snipe. Still got the flock hat you gave to me for free. Well, happy to hear that, my guy. And hopefully I can ship you another free flock hat. Let me show this real quick just in case y'all didn't see. But I ordered a bunch of merch to give away for y'all as well. The priority in terms of who we're giving away merch to, the first batch that I ordered 400 hats from this provider. I posted them in the Discord to get y'all's opinion on like what designs y'all liked and how much I should order of each. But they're going to be embroidered, so they'll look a little bit better than the mocks, and they're going to be different colors as well. But I ordered 400 from the designer initially, and if they're high quality, I'll order another 500, 600 from him. But regardless if they're high quality or not, those first 400 we're going to be taking to the meetup and giving to people from the meetup. And then just like we did last year on the site, I'll post on the site like a Google form saying, give me your address, give me your email address so I can look it up, make sure you have a membership on flogfantasy.com. And that's it. And then I'll send you a hat. But obviously, I appreciate y'all hanging out with us. We'll say a couple different things. One, these are free mock drafts on flogfantasy.com. You can go do them whenever you want. Probably prepare you for your redraft league. There have already been 22,000 drafts done on the site, which is crazy. And yeah, there are public drafts happening here all the time. But we are going to keep on opening up the streams every single night with the drafts on Underdog Fantasy because those are definitely more fun considering the fact that we can win real money with them. And if you wanted our draft guide cheat sheets, there are 2 different ways you can get that. One on flockfantasy.com, $34 gets you a season pass, which you'll be getting all the draft guides, not only from myself, but all the other creators on the site, plus all of our weekly and rest of season updated rankings throughout the entire year, plus unlimited access to the site through 2026. Plus, if you use promo code FLOCK, I will be answering your start sit questions and your trade questions during the season. So it's all on flockfantasy.com. We've never done anything this cheap. Hopefully we sell enough to be profitable and we don't have to raise the price back to where it was next season. And obviously, if y'all wanted to get the draft guide cheat sheets for cheaper, just $10 on Underdog Fantasy with code FLOCK, we'll get you those. And just check the email address that you signed up to Underdog Fantasy with in 2025 and made that $10 deposit. And those draft guide sheets should get sent to you there. But Appreciate it, ladies and gentlemen, and really hope I get to see you out with a